What we're going to take a look at in this video is how to take this image and create something like this. Now, most of the tools are stuff that you already know how to do, simple selection, a little bit of blending, and we can kind of get it in that direction. So let's take a look at this. The first thing I'm going to do is grab a lasso tool. And this doesn't have to be so specific to mine, but I'm basically just going to cut a shape across the face here. And we're just going to kind of go up and around. And again, it doesn't have to be so dead on, pretty close. And we could always alter that selection if you felt you needed to. From here, you're going to use Command or Control J to get, basically what you're doing is you're getting this image like this. Next thing that I want to do is I want to create a new layer above this because we're going to create a shadow that's underneath there. Now to grab the shadow, I'm just going to grab one of these dark colors that are already in here. I'm going to turn the face off just so I can see kind of where my shadow is. I'm going to get the brush tool, and what I'm looking for in the brush tool is just a real simple, it's going to take just a real simple brush here, hardness of 0, and just has a feathered edge to it. Now I'm going to make this a little bit wider because we're going to make a larger shadow and then a smaller shadow. So what I'm going to do is position my brush kind of like this and just kind of loosely go along the edge that's here. Now I do find that I didn't get in the corner here, so let's just do that. And so when I turn that on, you can see already it looks like this is now elevated. However, what I need to do is I need to create a smaller shadow that's in here, so another layer, and just create a smaller brush. And before I do that, I just want to show you, so this is normal. We're going to change it to multiply, and I'm just going to take it back a little bit that's there. Right, so it's just going to be taken back a little bit that's there. And then I'm going to create a new layer with, again, a smaller brush. And I'm going to paint along this edge. Make sure this is in multiply just so I can see it. There we go. So you can see what multiply does is it actually blends in with the skin a little bit. And I already have a kind of a dark color, so that's going to help me. And I'm just going to tone it back as I do that. So I have that, and I'm just going to tone this back in intensity just so I get kind of a closer edge as if it's touching more of the skin. Okay, great. So now what I want to do is I want to take this kind of, whatever this is, this paint that's there, and I want to only put it on the piece of the face that I took away. So what we're going to do is it's called a clipping mask. So all you have to do is hold down the Alter option, and you can see when I hover in between, I get this little square with a down arrow. That means that this is only going to affect what's directly below it. So I click on that, and I have that in there like that. Now, I don't want to just leave it like that because that looks kind of strange. So I am going to change this blending mode to color. And this is looking pretty good. I want a little bit more of the texture of the skin to show through. So we're going to do a new kind of thing with this. So double click outside of where it says layer 3, right? So we're going to double click on the outside here. And looking at all this, all the way down at the bottom, it's a mode that kind of gets forgotten. But if you use it correctly, it's so great. So we're going to use what's called blend if, which is down here. So in order to use this, you can see if I just drag this across, you can see if I drag it this way, it kind of takes away all that color. And it's kind of harsh. All of a sudden it drops off in these weird ways. So what we want to do is we want to split this a little bit. So if I hold the Alter option key and grab the right side of this, you can see I can split it. And so what that allows me to do is just create a softer transition. And I'm going to do the same thing down here on the underlying layer, right? Holding Alter option, which I didn't do. There we go. There we go. And you can see I can get this nicer blend that's starting to happen. Some of the skin starts to show through. We're going to do the same thing with the white one. And I don't think this one has an effect. And again, so we're just moving this over, and this is personal preference. This is nothing that has to be exactly to my numbers. So again, that's Alter option. You're grabbing on the black ones, you're grabbing the right side of it to split it, and on the white ones, you're grabbing the left side to split it. And we're going to do OK. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. So a couple other steps here. So I have this kind of textured wall. I'm going to change this to overlay and bring the opacity down to about 50%. Right? I could also shortcut to do that is hit 5 on the keyboard. 30% is 3, right? So we're going to do 50%. Last thing is, right, we see this brown layer that's here. And actually, it's only to be used to create what's going to be the border. So what I want to do is you could do Command-T, edit free transform, or click on the transform controls. And I am going to scale this from the center. So just hold down the Option key, and you can see it'll scale. And I want to make sure I'm scaling proportionately. So if you have this link already checked and it scales it proportionally, all you need to do is hold down the Option. If you don't, you would need to hold down that Option. So I'm going to do it, let's do it about 90%. Right, so it's 90%. I'm going to do OK, or click Enter. I'm going to turn off these transform controls, and I'm going to select it. Now, from selecting it, I'm now going to go to select inverse. So now it selects the opposite, and then I'm going to turn that off, do a new layer, and then simply fill it with white. Right? And there you go. So that's the way to take this, take from the original image, create some nice textures to it, create this kind of dramatic effect to the image.